Welcome and thank you for joining us. My name is Dan Colbert and I'm the VP of Sales here at Team Studio. Our technical director, John Coolidge, is joining me today, and the two of us will present to you this webinar titled Understanding Usage with Detailed Access Information. Here's our agenda for the next 30 minutes, starting with a short presentation of Team Studio, how we help our customers, followed by an overview of Team Studio Advisor, focusing on its catalog and usage modules. John will have the presenter rights for about 15 minutes, so this is going to be a shorter kind of format. We really wanted this to be specific to a particular use case. Anyone that's maybe familiar with Advisor knows that there are different feature sets and modules and so on. So we do have other topics lined up for future webinars, or we can talk to you afterwards. But this demo will be a specific, as I said, specific use case, and John will focus for about 15 minutes on that access information portion of the product. So there will be a hands-on demonstration, and then we'll have 5 minutes or so to answer any questions. And as far as the questions go, just a quick logistical point here. Within your go-to webinar pane, you'll see a question area. So go ahead, type your questions in at any time, and we'll get to those at the end. So I've just got a sample screenshot there. As I said, probably 5 minutes or so. And everyone should be on mute. And John, if you're not on mute as well, maybe just mute your microphone to avoid any background noise as we're going. And then when I go ahead and pass you over rights, unmute so that we can get the demo. So not too much time, so I'll keep things moving along. For those of you that don't know, Team Studio, I took a look at the attendee list, and I think most of you already know Team Studio. But for those of you that don't, we've been in the Notes and Domino business since 1996. So 21 years supporting Notes and Domino, the Notes and Domino application development area, I guess would be the best way to put it. Best practices and automating manual processes with our tools. 100,000 customers in over 130 countries over that time span worldwide. Our purpose is to provide software tools that help organizations with their custom notes applications. I mean, that's really our core mission in life. We've been recognized, in addition to some of the other publications and organizations over the years, by IBM for some of our products, with the CTO award most recently. And IBM as an organization has used our toolkit for all of their internal development globally since 1998 as a standard. So Team Studio Advisor, our latest offering. So what is Team Studio Advisor? So that's the solution that you're about to see, and it contains 4 different modules. A catalog module, which provides an exhaustive inventory of all of the NSF and NTF that are hosted on your servers, as well as detailed access rights, the information along those lines for each database and user. The usage module, which captures and presents usage information, focuses on the business user's activity for the users and the databases. So in other words, you can look at which databases are used by specific users, or look at it from a user standpoint and see kind of what databases they're interacting with. And we found that to be a very effective way in comparison to some of the other options that you have to get a real solid understanding of what are the most critical or widely used apps in your environment. So those are the 2 areas that we're going to focus on today. There are 2 other modules that we'll look at in a future webinar. There's a complexity module which looks at the complexity of databases in terms of code and design. Anybody that maybe has used Analyzer in the past, you can kind of think about that a little bit, only it's more of a global view. So it will scan each design and then compile reports on number of design elements, different metrics around the code itself. It allows you to put in custom search terms and look for potential issues that you might have with upgrading, rewriting, modernizing your applications, and so on. And then the fourth one is guidance. And what we've done is created a module and written some code which will compile the output from things like catalog, usage, effective access, complexity, and also a kind of self-service business value component. So you can define or kind of manually enter the business value as you see it for a particular application in your organization, and we'll combine all of those different metrics and then project a path forward for each individual database: retire, archive, modernize, etc. And that's kind of a really exciting conclusion to this whole product. So it gathers a bunch of great admin-related statistics, which you can look at on a daily basis, and that's great. But there's also some actionable data with the guidance module. So again, getting back to the real focus of this particular webinar and the demo that John's about to show you. So compliance and security use cases, that's sort of what we're gonna look at today. So we've highlighted a few use cases when it comes to compliance and security. As you will see, there's much more in Advisor, but our clients typically use it to help with identifying databases to be archived or retired, and to help with consolidating servers and tidy up their notes address book for migration purposes, or to simply make their day-to-day support tasks easier. So just to kind of reiterate what I talked about earlier, list of all the applications the user has access to. In terms of security and ACLs, there can be situations where users may have access that is greater than what might be required. The applications that a user is actively using, but also applications where potentially anonymous and default access are set higher than they should be. So when you get into effective access, you start to take a look at the different groups, nested groups, and really try to understand how that all works and really make sense of the access levels and the usage levels for individuals in your environment. And that's what John's gonna walk through for you here in the demo. So thanks a lot for listening to that overview. I hope it gave a little bit of context, but now it's time for me to pass the presenter rights over to John, and he'll share his screen and get going with the demo.
Hello, my name is John Coolidge. I've been with Team Studio for about 10 years now. Prior to that, I was a 10-year customer to Team Studio using all the various tools. As for my Notes and Domino experience, I have been working within the Notes and Domino world doing both development and administration since pre-alpha R1. I was working at Lotus Development when Notes first came out, and I've been working with it ever since. So I will start with showing you my screen. Can everyone see my screen okay?
Looks good.
Okay, good. So this is the home page for the dashboard for the Advisor tool. This sits on a Domino web server, and we'll show you all the information the tool gathers in a really nice interface. So you can see the 4 modules that Dan had mentioned: your catalog, the usage, complexity, and guidance. At this dashboard, we give you a couple of different ways you can view the information. So we'll show you largest databases by size, give you a few options to look at, as well as the largest templates by design elements with the same options. And as for the usage, we'll show you your most used databases, again with the same options, or your most active users. And again, the complexity and the guidance, which Dan had mentioned, we'll get into in another webinar. So we'll start with looking at the catalog module. What the catalog module does is it gives you a complete list of all of your applications and templates in your environment, and allows you to see some information about them. as well as all of the user information. And I seem to be having a little issue here. Bear with me a second. I may have timed out. There we go. Just a timeout. I apologize for that. So we will show you your databases a few different ways. I will show you by a list of all the databases with some related information as far as the server they're on, their title, if it's a template, what the template name is, what it inherits from, and the last time it was modified via the database properties. You also can look at them by the template that they inherit from, by tag. You can tag databases with a text string, so you can group them together based on business unit, or if there's multiple NSF files that make up an application, or if you're using this for project management for migrating, you can put in what the target platform might be, etc. The business value is part of the guidance. That's something that is set manually. We'll show you the last modified date, and also by filter. And what filtering does, it allows you to take things like system databases and exclude them from the other views in the application. So you can exclude them from the usage, the complexity, and the guidance. So for example, you can see that this is a system database. So I haven't excluded anything in here because I'm trying to show all of the information. But as you can see, there are tags on this particular database. So this is tagged as a system database. So real quick, what we show you is basic information about the application, the size, where it is, how many documents, the last time it was modified, when it was created. Just some visibility and design information. But what we'll go in is we'll show you the access control list as it is listed on the database. And then what we will do is we will take that particular access control list and dig into it with what we call effective access. So what that does, and let me give you a better example here. So you can see in your access control list, you have a group in here. And then we go down to the effective access. It will go in and parse through that group and give you a list of all of the users and their access level. There's no limit onto how many nested groups we will drill down through. So if you're listed in a regional sales group that's part of a country sales group and it's part of the company, you'd be nested 3 levels deep. It will still find you, and it will, like I said, there's no limit to how deep it will go, and give you a list of the actual users of an application. So now if you're being audited and the auditors want to know who has access to these databases from a user perspective, you'll have that information easily available right here rather than going in and trying to do it manually, going through group at a time, etc. And then we'll just give it to you in a few different ways of last modified so you can get an idea of the history of your applications. So now we'll also go in and we'll work with the users in your organization. So what we do is we take those users, and using the effective access, we'll go through and show you all of the databases they have access to, as well as all of the groups that they are a member in, whether it is nested or through explicitly listed. So we'll start with this particular user, and they are a member of these particular groups. Now, in this case, you'll see Apex Sales Engineer. It doesn't have anything listed under the VIA column, so they're explicitly listed in here. But when you see the administrators group, they're listed via the JP admin group. So you can see how they're listed in here. So now you see all the groups they're in. So one of the nice features of having this information is if you're looking to replicate somebody's access in the environment. For example, Lauren Dowd gets promoted to a new position and you're trying to replace her. You now can see all of the groups she's in and use that as a template for the person who replaces her. And along those lines, we'll also show you all of the databases she has access to. And again, this is using the effective access, so it parses through groups. So you see every database that she has access to, regardless of whether she's in a group or not. In this case, she has access to a lot of databases. But we'll go through and we'll show you those databases listed here. So again, if you're looking to, auditors want to know, what can this particular person access, you can come in here and show them that. Or again, if you're looking to replicate this person's access with a new user, you have that information listed here. We'll also show you, again, an easy list of all the groups that they belong to. So we'll go in and find, let's find a specific group, office administrators. This has 2 people in it, but let's find a better group. This shows you the number of members in there. This is very exciting information. Team Studio staff. So you see, these are all the people by name that are in this particular group. Now there may be nested groups in here, but again, this is the list, the aggregate list of all the users who are in this particular group. So again, you can easily see, okay, Team Studio has access to this application, or if it's a mailing list, you can easily see all of the users that are in here from one interface, rather than again having to go through and searching all of the underlying groups, manually, or writing some code to do that for you. And that's the effective access in the catalog piece. Now we'll go over to the use. One other thing I forgot to show you. With the users view, you can also use this particular interface to eliminate, or what we call filter, system users. So you're not tracking them in the usage activity. So for example, systems administrators, developers, help desk personnel, people who aren't using these applications to do their daily job, you don't want to track that as business usage. So you can go in and you can actually filter those users out so they won't show up in those other views. Now, when you go in and filter them, their access and their usage is still being tracked. It's just not displayed in these further views. So if you decide that Abigail Chapman is a systems administrator and you no longer, you don't want to track her information, you would filter her information by clicking on this. But then if you wanted to start tracking her again 6-9 months from now, and you remove that filter, all that information is still there, so you don't have a gap in her usage history. So you can see everything that's happened over that past 9 months where you really weren't observing her. So you won't lose any information by filtering people, but it does make these other views a lot cleaner and easier to tell, again, what is being used by actual business users. So we'll go into the usage now. And again, the purpose of the usage is to show you the business use of your applications. So we'll show you in here, again, we'll show you databases, and we'll give you some basic information about them as far as the user total. We're going to show you the user activity. Notes activity is a user that you are watching who accesses a database from a notes browser. Web activity is the same thing, but from a web browser, and we give you a total number of the activity. We also will track the number of days that the database has been used by users since this tool started running. So if this tool had been running for a 1.5 years, out of that 1.5 years, only 45 days this was used. And the last day that a business user accessed this database was February 16th. We segregate out agent activity and server activity. We still track it, but we don't log that as last use information because typically that's maintenance activity. Scheduled agents that run nightly, even if they're signed by a user ID, it's still tracked as agent activity because it may just be updating certain things that are considered maintenance tasks. So you won't see that in the last use by dates, but we still do track it, and you'll to keep an eye of all the activity going on because there are some databases where you're only going to have agent activity, mail-in databases, things like that. So we do still track that, but it's segregated out. So I'll also show you the unique users of an application. So these are the people who are actively using the application. It may not be everybody who has access to it, but it's the people who are physically doing things in this database that you are not ignoring. So you can see in this case, we have 12 particular users of this application, and it shows you how they're accessing it and the last time they were in and accessed the application. As I stated, we'd show you agent activity. It'll show you the scheduled agents that ran and the activity that they did. Not only scheduled agents within this application, but also agents from other databases that are accessing this particular database. So you would see an agent name listed here in the activity if it was internal to this database. But if it was an agent that was external, you'd see the server name, the path to the database, and then the agent. So you know everything that is happening in your database now from one interface. You don't have to look through logs and agent logs and try to figure out just what is going on now. Let me go to an interesting database. Oh, let me go by server. I'm sorry, by server. Dev01. So this particular application will also show you trending information on these applications. And that is not the right one, I apologize. Oh, yeah, I'm sorry, here we go. It just took a minute to load. So you see what we'll do is we'll show you trending over time with the application. So this is important when you're making decisions in your applications. You might have a database that is being used. As you can see, this has some activity fairly recent. But if you look at the trending, most of the heavy use of this application was over a year, about a year ago, up to 6 months ago, and then it started to trail off. So this, again, might be an application that is being used, but you may want to evaluate whether you want to add this to your project, whether it's migrating or modernizing. Since it may be project specific and that project might be ending, etc. So this trending information is very important, as well as the last use type information. And we'll show you the differences between the notes and the web, but you see the patterns are similar, and then we give you the overview, just kind of laid over each other. So this is a very critical part of your evaluation as well, not just knowing what's used, but how it's used and the pattern of usage over time. So again, this could greatly reduce your project workload if a lot of your databases are project related, and even though they're being used, it looks like they're at their end of their life in the environment. So again, it'll make it easier for you to come up with a list of databases to work on. Another important information, piece of information that we give you along with that usage is a number of unique users in an application. So again, you may have an application that's being used quite a bit, but if there's only 1 or 2 users of that application, you may want to decide, again, is that worth the effort of migrating this to a new platform or modernizing it with a web interface if there's only a couple people using it? So again, that's a decision you want to make, as can that functionality fit into another application that exists already? Or can it even be a spreadsheet? So that, again, is some very important information that we have within here that'll help you take these databases that are active, which I have, depending on how you want to look at it, I have about 1,000 databases that are active, and then part of that list down even more by looking at unique users and the trending information over time. So the goal, again, is to come up with applications that are being used by business users, but also are worth the effort of being migrated or worked on to be modernized by the amount of people who are using it, as well as the trending of the usage. And you can also tag applications as well. So you can see we have some tags in here. This will help you with your project as well. So you can see that in this case, this is going to go to a SharePoint discussion site. We have some tagged as system, some are demo databases, some are customer specific, etc. So this can help you in organizing your project as well. Now I showed you how you can eliminate or filter out users. You can also do that with databases. So you can see I have a lot of applications in here you may not be concerned with in your project. So system databases, things like that. So you can also filter system databases. But what's nice, there's a few options in how you can do it. You can just filter that specific database on a specific server, any server, all replicas, or you can go in and you can do it by the template it inherits from. So in this case, it isn't that great doing the catalog, but if you wanted to filter out all of your mail files, you could select a mail database and filter all of them by your notes, by the standard notes mail X template, and it would no longer show up in that usage view. Now, the same as users, that usage will still be tracked, but it's not displayed. So again, if you decided you wanted to now look at your mail after you worked on your applications for some reason, you can remove that filter and you'll still have the last 6, 9, however many months that you were ignoring that usage back in the views. So you haven't lost anything. And the business value, again, is part of the guidance, which we really won't go into right now. So to summarize, the purpose of Advisor is to take your list of databases, filter out system databases and things you're not interested in, get a list of your users, filter out system-based users, and to come up with true business users and the applications they're actually using to do their day-to-day job. So with that, I will send it back to Dan.
John, hold on one second before you do that. I'm gonna
Yep.
call an audible in this webinar because we have a few questions, and they all look like they are technical in nature.
Sure.
And so I'm going to suggest that maybe you just hold on to the reins here, and if you want to use Advisor to answer the questions, maybe that would be a little easier. The only other slides I have are one with a giant question mark on it that says any questions. So I think we're good there. Okay. And then I have one with our email addresses. So maybe we'll pop that over. But so a few questions. I'm going to pick some until we run out of time. So thanks for that, by the way. I hope that was helpful for everyone in the audience. It was a really nice overview. There's a lot of kind of slicing and dicing of the information. So one thing I think you made pretty clear is that you can view this data from any perspective really that you want and then track that over time. So it was nice to see. So a few questions. I'm going to just read them off. The first one that I have is, and you actually just covered this, but I'm going to read it off anyway, just to make sure there's nothing that I'm missing. But was the tagging of the activity trends database as a system database a manual operation, or does the tool know about the shipped templates?
No, it was manual. Let me find mail.box, for example. So what you would do is you would, oops, I always do that. Let's go back to the catalog, go my databases. I clicked a little bit too much. So this is activity. So it's just a tag that you type in, because there may be more than just system databases, and the system databases change within versions. So it's, mail R6, mail R7, etc. So you just type in the tag system. This is a webinar database. And you hit enter, and you can have as many of these tags as you want. And then they will show up in the databases by tag view. And here's our webinar. So it is a manual process.
Got it. Okay, thank you. Next question. What do you consider web access? What about traveler activity?
Yeah, traveler is for those who don't know, which I'm sure everybody does, is a method of getting your mail out onto your phone and your mobile devices. And that is all communicated over the HTTP port. So it is tracked as web activity in our tool and on the Domino server.
Okay, thank you. And I know there's about 1 minute left until the 30-minute mark, so some people might jump off. Just as a reminder, I'm recording this and then we'll put it up on our YouTube channel. If you want to see if your question gets answered, I'm going to continue to read through a few, but just wanted to put that out there. Next one, John. How would agent activity show up if signed by a user ID?
Yeah, the scheduled agent's running. When we look at that activity, we look at the task behind it. So if we see that it's run by agent manager, we know it's a scheduled agent. So we automatically log that as agent activity, regardless of who signs it. So it can be signed by myself, assigning ID, the server, whatever. It all comes under agent activity because the agent manager task is running it.
Got it. Thank you. Keep them coming. Is there a limit to the number of groups that advisor can report on?
No, we will go until all the groups have been parsed through.
Okay. Let's see. Here's another one. Can advisor monitor servers in more than one domain?
Yeah, I didn't go over the configuration, but there's two pieces to this. There's the server database that you're looking on, which holds all the information and displays all the neat features. And then there's a workstation component that does the data collection. And one of the reasons we use a workstation is so you can have an ID that's cross-certified to access multiple domains and get that information. If it was on a server, a lot of times those domains aren't cross-certified, so it wouldn't work. So by using the workstation component, yes, you can get to multiple domains.
Okay, and last one. Will advisor identify ACL settings in nested groups?
When it goes in and grabs that information, you may be listed in multiple groups, but the answer is yes with a caveat. When we log the ACL information of a database, we take the highest access you have. So if you're explicitly listed and you're in 4 different groups, whatever the highest access you have is what's reported on, because that's what Notes and Domino sees you as. But the answer is yes. But again, if you're in there multiple times, it'll take it from the highest access you have.
Got it. Okay. Good questions, technical questions. We appreciate that. So thank you. John, if you want to now pass things back to me, what I can do is just bring up our contact information and wish everyone a great day and express our thanks for joining us today.
I think you need to take it back actually, because I can't see you. Oh wait, no, wait.
Okay. Are we there?
Yeah. Oh, hold on, I can do it. Here you go. I'll make it to you right now. Here you go. Sorry about that.
Okay, there we go. Okay. Thanks everybody for joining us. We really appreciate your time. Again, my name is Dan Colbert, Regional Sales Manager and located here in the greater Boston area, and John Coolidge, Technical Director. Go ahead and email us with any questions that may come up afterwards, or you may be in touch with someone already. John Andrews, Tim Howlett, Mark Marchand, Michael Whitehead, Margaret Kaler. We've got different people around the globe working with our customers. So if you know someone already, connect with them. If not, you can connect with us. Have a great day. And again, thanks for your attendance.